Okay, so I want to show you how we're going to install Python. I'm going to start the installation process and then show you where we get it. I've got version of Python 3.6.4, so we're going to go with that. I'm going to double click it. And essentially, we're going to accept most of the defaults. This may be a little bit different for me than for you, but you'll get the general idea of what's required. So I'm going to run this. If you're installing on your own machine, you should be fine. I want to choose a custom installation. Can accept all the default options that are here. I want to install for all users. If someone at the board office is installing for you, if they install it just themselves, it will work great for them, but we need to make sure it works for you when they log out. So we're going to install for all users. I like to add the Python to the environment variables, and that should be all we need. Where it installs this, if you're doing it, doesn't matter where you install it. Depending upon, here at Algonquin, sometimes I don't have access properly to install things inside the program files. I like to install just to the root directory C drive. And I'm just going to install this one as Python, plain old Python, C:python. You can put whatever path you want, but next we're going to have to go to the command prompt and type in that path. So C:python is easy to type in. So I'm now going to install this. Now that that's installing, I'll show you where we actually go get that file. So if I type in python.org, this is what loads, and we've got downloads are right here. You can go back and grab various versions. Sometimes you might want to run a 2.7. You might have a module that only works with versions of Python 3, but before 3.5. So you can go grab whatever code you need. We'll go with this latest version, 3.6.4. You'll click on that. In fact, here, note that Python 3.5 Plus cannot be used on Windows XP or earlier. So hopefully you're running at least Windows 7. But otherwise, you would download the 3.4. And really, for what we're doing in this course, if any of these versions of 3. Whatever should be fine. I'll download this. And we can see it's downloading. I'm going to cancel it because I've already got a version downloaded. We can see it's installing here. So what I need to do is I'm going to actually now, I want to add a Pygame module to Python. So I'm going to run, I need to get my command prompt. Command, there we go. I can close my setup. It was successful. And I'm now going to go to the root directory. If I take a look now, I can see that I've got a folder called Python. That's what I just installed. So I'll change directory to Python. And inside of that, I'll have a folder called scripts. So I'm going to change to that directory. And now I'm going to run a program called pip, which I think stands for Python installation package or something like that. So I'm going to say pip install. And the first module we want is called wheel. So that goes out to pip install requirement already satisfied. Wheel is in. Okay. So I had just done this, but if it wasn't, first time you're doing that, it will say installed successful. And now I'm going to pip install Pygame. And I'll probably get the same result. You would get slightly different. It should just install. All right. So that means that I now have access to a module called Pygame, which is something we'll be looking at a little bit later in the course. For some of you, this is going to get harder. It's going to be harder to get installed because you'll have to speak to people at your school or your board office. So I want to just make sure that everyone gets this environment up and running so that we're able to work on it when we need to. Here in Algonquin, what I've done is I've installed this on all of the machines at our school. And then what I've done is I've just placed a, inside of our student share, I've placed an icon to the file. So this is actually a shortcut that if I take a look at my properties, where's it going? It's going to the C drive Python. That's the shortcut to the Python folder. And because I've installed it in the same location in Python in all of the on all the machines here at Holy Cross, my students are able to run the file because they don't actually, when they log in, they don't have access to this menu here. So you just want to make sure you're able to run it. As a test, I'm going to run my program. And I can say print hello world. Okay, so this isn't a program. This is just the command prompt. If I want to create a program, file, new file, and I'll save it. I'll save this as the hello world program in my documents. You're probably going to want to create a folder ICS inside your documents. I'll call this hello world. And I'll do for I in range. Let's just do 5, 4. Print hello world. We can see that this is a program. Now when I run it, it says I need to always save it before I run. And it outputs to this screen here. One of the nice things about this program is our ability to debug. I can debug my code. I'll run my software again, options, run. And what it's doing is it's giving, it will give me information about what's going on. Now I could step through. I want to take a look at global variables. But we'll take a look at the debug program a little bit later on, but I haven't looked at this for a while. Let's step. Okay, so we should have a I don't want to look at the stack. Okay. We're getting. Okay, here's our I. Our I value has a value of 1. So we're stepping through our code. And then there's also an option. We'll take a look at this later, but I forget. I don't want to step over each line. I'll step out of that function. Okay. There's a bunch of what's going on is when I call the for, that's actually a function. So I was actually stepping into the code for for. I want to just step through the code in my program, so I can step over each thing. I is now 1, and is it telling us our line number? Here we go. I want to see our source. So this is where we are. So I'm currently up here. My I is 1. When I step over that next thing, I has now got a value of 2, so it should be printing hello world next. That's what it's done. I can step over the next thing again. I come back here. Once this executes, I will be getting I jumping to 3. There it is. And we've got our third print. I come back again, and it finished because it, oh, hang on. Yeah, so this is where I must have stepped. I want to step out of this. I'm now into the run. You see up here, I'm into the run module. So I want, and I will be about to come forward. I'll step out of that. Step over it. What's going on? Oh, yeah, I finished the program. Anyways, at a later point, having that debug module will be useful. You just want to make sure that you can get Python installed and just test to make sure that it works. All right.